Hey guys, uh, time for the next video. Wanted to talk a little bit about Overlord today. Uh, I know you're saying like, oh no, I've heard so much about Overlord and already watch it. What is this guy gonna have to add that I don't already know? Well, I don't care, to be quite honest. I'd like to talk about it just a little bit. So, one of the things I kept hearing about with season 2 and season 3, oh, there's not enough Ainz, there's not enough Momonga. You know, we need to see more, as I've seen some people calling it, Bone Daddy. Yeah. It, okay, sure, Bone Daddy, whatever. But anyway, I think one of the factors a lot of people are overlooking is that this is world building that we've been seeing. The lizard tribe, the workers, the eight fingers shit, you know, and all that other stuff. It's like, by showing all this and taking the time to explain and feature this, you are world building. You are giving a richer, more vibrant portrayal of the environment that this show is taking place in. So the more you know and the more you're shown about it, the more you can appreciate everything that's happening with the main cast and the supporting cast. So it's not like the focus of the show has been shifted. You're just getting a wider view. It's like taking a spyglass and then, oh look, now it's a pair of binoculars, so you can see more. Instead of just one circle, you can see double. And then changing it to, an observatory or something, where you can see even. Oh, that's a dumb reference. What are you doing? Huh? You being a butt? Anyway, instead of getting, a small pinhole like a lot of shows and stories do, you're getting a veritable window, So, I'm not sure quite how else to put it, but I hope I've done a decent job of explaining what I'm talking about. The other thing that I've seen is, oh, now we're really seeing how Ainz is evil. Oh, he really is a bad guy. No. Well, first of all, we know from the get-go he's playing what is traditionally considered to be an evil class. A necromancer, skeleton, undead. He's not on the side of the angels. With that being said, from everything we've seen, it's more the the NPCs of the Tomb of Nazarick that are the driving force of this evil. They were programmed a certain way for a video game for flavor for said video game. So when they're given their own agency in the fact that they are alive and can think, and they're not just a pre-programmed prop that can only, you know, they went from being Lydia, for being forced to carry our burdens, to being another player, basically. And it just so happens that these players don't care for human life. They don't hold it in as high regard as Ainz does. Because even if he has that game system bit that's keeping his emotions suppressed, at the end of the day, he's still human under it all. In my opinion. You know, okay, he has a different body, but how he was raised, you know, his sensibilities. I also think they're playing it up that while he is very smart, I mean, very, very smart, he isn't as savvy as he could be. Because, well, he just thought, oh, I'm making it so that I have a place for all my friends to come if, you know, they are here, completely ignoring Demiurge, or however you pronounce his name, with, oh, I saw you fantasize on the one night about taking over the world, so I'm going to make that a reality for you. Because you're the best and you should have the rule of the world. As well as, you know, it's like, oh yes, we found some sheep that make excellent parchment, so we're just going to keep farming those. And he doesn't get that it's, well, you know. You know, so they've gone time and time again to show that, you know, he's smart, but he's a bit naive. And from the bit we know of from before he was trapped in wherever he is, he was more than likely a salaryman who spent his free time online gaming, you know, kind of a shut-in, like a lot of people are, you know. So he was your, I don't want to say typical Japanese man, but he was your typical hardcore gamer. Not professional gamer, but I feel hardcore because, you know, you know, instead of having video games as a way to relax, it's you have a job to support your video game. I've seen that. So, and out of all the other different examples of people getting this invested into a single video game, you know, especially an online one, it's the one that makes the most sense. Yeah, but anyway, so he is fairly naive. So when some of the more heinous underlings come to him, he may not quite get it. There's also the fact that up until he was transported, it was all just a video game. Yeah, he could, you know, attack NPCs, raise a village, turn them all into undead and everything. But they were still bits of data, zeros and ones, arranged in, you know, whatever order needed to fit a purpose. Okay? He doesn't know if he's truly in another world, or if he's still in a even more advanced version of the game. So to him, he sees no real reason to treat it as if it is another world, because that could also hurt his psyche if you think about it. A lot of the isekai shows kind of downplay this. They downplay the mental stress someone could undergo from going to a different world, and the mental burden and everything. One of the older shows that I think handled that well, that you don't really hear about, it's 12 Kingdoms. Was it 13? Was it 12 Kingdoms? Yeah, 12 Kingdoms. The protagonist was the rightfully born empress of a parallel universe, well, of one of the kingdoms, and her and a classmate who didn't like her, and the classmate was big into fantasy and video games and whatnot, got teleported to the other world, and the classmate kinda went cuckoo bonanza because she had been convinced that she was the heroine, that this is just all for her, and she cracked. She couldn't handle the stress of being the supposed heroine, and she couldn't handle the stress when she found out she wasn't. And eventually, at the end of the season, she went home. Or she was teleported back to Earth, and she was given the mental help she needed by the other character. But, so that just shows how strong of the game system that is affecting Ainz's mentality is. If it can keep him from going nuts, awesome. But it may also be more of a reflexive, I can't treat this as another world, because if it is, what am I doing? What am I allowing my subordinates to do? So, there's that aspect. The other aspect of the, oh no, Momonga's truly evil and everything. Well, first of all, when two factions go to war, people die. It's a fact of life. Is it a good thing? No, it's never a good thing. The only difference here being is that Ainz can easily raise his people, as well as most of his army is just easy to mass produce fodder that he doesn't have to give a shit about. The only ones he really has to care about are the ones who have personalities, higher up. It's like, oh yes, this is a X tier skeleton, or Dread Knight. Okay, 1 in a billion. Don't need to worry about it. It's when you start getting, like the little penguin thing. God, that was stupid. That was so. But the point is, it doesn't really matter to him. He can send wave upon wave and never need to worry. Whereas, oh, yeah, the humans, they're going to lose people in droves. Not going to be pretty. The other thing is that we know Ainz doesn't want to go the bloodiest route. He doesn't want to do the whole dictator thing. He doesn't want to do the whole rule with the iron fist, as seen by, how he's treating Cardre Village, and now, his orders on for Cocytus to how to handle the lizard tribe, or the lizardmen tribes, I should say. So he isn't heartless. He's having to make. It seems like he is having to make tough calls, and that because he isn't because he isn't involved as much as he should be, he's basically giving Demiurge free reign to do whatever Demiurge thinks needs to be done, and that includes some very heinous things. And then the final thing to consider with this whole oh no, he's evil. Well, there's nothing to say that they had to show all these other points of views. They could have easily have done world building, other ways, but they chose to get you invested in, secondary and minor characters, like in, well, spoiler alert, skip, I'm going to say 40 seconds, with the whole worker situation. It just shows that, oh hey, you didn't have to show these workers. You didn't have to show the two groups of good guys. You could have just shown the one asshat with the elves and be done with it. But you chose to show, oh, there are some good people here too. You could have just shown it been a whole bunch of evil, they need money for purely selfish reasons, as opposed to, some selfless reason or whatever, So the only reason we're crying about it is because we got emotionally invested. You show us a different point of view. You show us another character. You develop that character a bit. People are going to get attached to those characters. And then when it's just like, oh yeah, no, we're just going to have you be tortured over and killed and this and the other stuff. It's just like, well, that sucks. But then, it's... I had to stop and really analyze this, because as a Catholic, I have a very, what I feel, flushed out, hardened, this is good, this is evil, And part of me admits, that there are some, evil undertones to all this. But that's because the author is doing a good job of showing everything. He could have just done it from Ainz's perspective. He could have, not shown the workers. He could have not shown this, then the other stuff. And so ultimately, it feels like, while the weight of the sin still lies on Ainz's shoulder. It isn't as horrific as it appears to be, simply because we have been, I don't want to say conditioned, but exposed to factors that make it seem worse. I mean, I hope I'm making sense. And not really, I'm not trying to confuse you or sound contradictive. You know, oh, I have such, good moral standards and good and evil, but he's not really evil because this. Part of it is evil, but I don't think it's all intentional evil. I think part of it is a byproduct of actions taken. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz that you hear from everybody about everything, because I do some artwork on the side. Like, my icon is a small snippet of a piece I did for a D&D character I run. So, with that all being said, have a good one.